So today I want to talk about content systems, and I want to talk about whether you have one, whether you need one, how it's working, how to think about it, all that stuff. I'm only going to spend about 10 minutes on this though, so I might not get to every single little point. But I want to start by talking about two things that may not seem immediately related. So one of them is cars, and the other one is HubSpot. A car is, this thing that we drive and it gets us to a place and it has some performance characteristics like it is comfortable or it accelerates fast or it just gets us from A to B or it does a thing. It carries a certain amount of cargo, whatever it is, or passengers. And then the car itself is this very complex interplay of a lot of different systems. And I know very little about cars, but there's things like the transmission and the engine, and there's the air conditioning, and there are all of the individual pieces of the engine suspension. All of those things, all of those systems have certain inputs and they do stuff with those inputs and they somewhat reliably produce an output, and all these systems work together to get people where they want to go. The other thing I want to talk about, so just keep that car thing in mind. The other thing I want to talk about is HubSpot. So I'm going to share our HubSpot, one of our workflows from the Aircule HubSpot. This is very simple. It's like, if you start working with our app, you will get a bunch of emails from us that probably need to be updated. But there they are. You'll get them at certain times. And there's a little system here. And anybody who's worked with HubSpot knows that HubSpot has tons and tons of these little steps and things you can put together to build routines. And that's where marketing ops and revenue ops and all of these departments spend their time, is building these systems that are within HubSpot. The big change is in the past couple of years is that suddenly content has become much more susceptible to this kind of automation than it was before LLMs, before AI. And so just keep HubSpot pinned in your memory while I talk about some other things, HubSpot and cars. Let's hold on to that for a minute. Now let's go back to talking about what is a content system and how we think about content systems. So a content system, like a car, like HubSpot, is a set of processes or a set of sometimes rules or a set of routines where you are taking some inputs and you are building the routines and the process and all that stuff. And you are hopefully in many cases receiving an output. So that is how we want to think about content systems. And some of those systems are things like, we came up with a topic, somebody wrote the thing, and then we publish it on the site. Or they might be, we go out to Reddit and somebody goes to Reddit and they answer a thing. Like, that's kind of a system. Some of them might be, we post a thing on our blog. Some of them might be the content management system itself, like your Webflow or whatever. And the way that we think about frequently attended to disciplines within marketing and within content are as manifestations of a good content system, or types of content systems, or types of objectives. So for example, when we work on SEO, there is a content system that is centered around the idea of producing content that ranks well in search, does other things, gets impressions or clicks or rank or whatever it is we're looking for. When we think about LLM visibility, which we spend a ton of time on, then there is a system there, which is, are we doing the right things that make us visible in LLMs? And then we also work with clients on things like, hey, we are publishing these white papers, but they're not making it to our blog. Can you help us do that? Yeah, like, let's build workflows using AI to do that. And so the idea there fundamentally behind a content system is that you are putting in your inputs, your point of view, your words, your brand, your product features, your ideas, all of these things. And you need a way, a bundle of routines that takes all these things and as efficiently as possible gets you to where you want to go as far as impressions or clicks or conversions. We work with clients on CRO as well, like conversion rate optimization. That's important. how does the website look? Are people actually reading the content and then converting? All that other stuff. So SEO, LLMs, website conversions, building landing pages for ads, running webinars. These are all things that we will sometimes get involved with clients on because of their nature as part of the content system. So I'm going to show you a few examples of other things that I would consider content systems or inputs or outputs of content systems. And then the last thing I'm going to say is that is answering the questions of, do you need a content system? But let's just talk about that in a second. So a couple other things to kind of show you, like this isn't a content system, but it is a dashboard. So for us, this is a way of looking at topics, and you can see in column C there, we've got LLM visibility, and we've got the average rank and impressions and all sorts of other data that goes out here in our outputs of the system. And this is a dashboard, much like you might see in your car or whatever it is. So this is evidence of a system. Another output of a system could be something like, oh, here's the copy we're using for a specific set of pages. Another thing you could have involved with the system is, here is the Aircule app, and the Aircule app helps you make decisions about what content is in there and what you should do with it. So it's a way of making the system legible, and Google Analytics and Search Console and all sorts of other attempt to make the system legible. This is also when we work with clients on content systems. You can see I've got all of our templates here that we use. There's lots of them here. And these are all workflows that we drop in to make the system work better and to get more information about what's going on within the system. Or here's another example, is this is what we call our content linter. And what the content linter does is it's a long workflow that uses AI to touch all of the pieces of content in a library and understand, whether they're working or whether they match the brand guidelines or whether they match the positioning or whether they're misspellings or other things like that. This is also a tool that you can, a thing that you can drop into the system to make it work better. So that's what we like to think about with clients. And again, all the things that we work on, SEO, content strategy, LLM optimization, writing, all those things, we think of those as manifestations of making the content system work better and more efficiently, and achieving specific objectives and tuning the system to achieve those objectives. And then also doing the work for the inputs. Like, we're not just working on systems, and you can't just be working on systems. You got to also write the thing, update the thing, change the website, etc. The last thing I mentioned is, do you need a content system? And the thing I'll tell you is, you already have a content system. It's really just a question of whether it's working or achieving what you want. If I'm sitting down and writing a blog post once a month whenever the mood strikes me, that is a system. It's just not going to get you where you want to go, unless where you want to go is, I have a blog with a bunch of blog posts on it, which is a very legitimate outcome to want, especially if you're just starting out. So that's fine. And, that's really the key thing here, is we want to match the investments we're making and the way the system is set up to the results we want and get it all tuned. So do you need a content system? Yes. Do you have a content system? If you're watching this, you almost certainly have a content system of some type. And the key question for you is the content system, is the bundle of routines and processes and data and all that other stuff and instrumentation, is it all matched up so that you're making the inputs are available, you're making those inputs, and you're getting to the outputs you want, and you understand what you can realistically achieve with those inputs, and you match the objectives of the system to the fuel that it's getting and to the way that it's set up. So that's my little content systems manifesto. Thanks for watching, checking this out. Appreciate it. Let me know what you think about the captions. It's like a new thing that I'm trying out here, and it's kind of fun to set up. But anyway, all right, cool. Catch you later. Thanks.